And so here is the word that I believe the Lord gave me just to share with you before we get into our life tree discussion this morning. I'm a writer, as you know, so I like putting my thoughts down in writing and then just share them with you guys. It says, this has been a pretty tough summer for most of us. And let me take you on a little bit of our journey this summer, not to draw attention to us, but to tell you why we are praising God so strongly today, to explain why our hands are lifted and why our voices are raised today. We have a responsibility to show you how to get through tough times and how to respond to difficult situations. If you ever want to know why God sets leaders and pastors in your life, that's what they're supposed to be doing, being an example to the flock, not just simply telling everybody what to do. You're supposed to show everybody how to respond. Back during the first weekend of May, we celebrated our younger son's college graduation, and this was on the heels of our middle son successfully completing his first term in college. However, from that point on, everything went downhill. One of our spiritual sons back in St. Louis suddenly passed away. A young man we have known for more than 25 years, known him since he was a teenager, very, very much a part of our family. 3 weeks after his funeral, we received a call that our bishop, my brother, had suffered a heart attack. Then last week, my mother had a mild stroke. This latest outbreak comes behind 7 years of battles since we've been launched forth in this ministry. And this is what the past 7 years have been like for us. My parents lost their home in a fire. The pastor who took my place when we were sent here to Harrisburg, he passed away. Another pastor and close friend who was part of our Urban Pastors Alliance passed away. Our overseers, bishop, passed away. In other words, Pastor Ray, our Bishop Raphael's bishop, passed away. It's been heartbreak after heartbreak, disappointment after disappointment. I know that most of you can totally identify with what I'm talking about today. And now combine all of what I've just told you with the fact that we lost our home about 5 years ago. And in these 7 years of ministering, our growth is about 25 people. And so you can see why we had reached such a low point over these past 3 or 4 weeks. However, in the midst of our low point, God has continued to provide for us. People have given, sown into our lives, into our family, financially, prayers. He's also given us opportunity to keep speaking his word and giving to others. Seems like the weaker we become, the stronger God moves in our lives. Suddenly, we found ourselves ministering to nearly 500 people in our home church and encouraging them. Then we had to encourage them even though we was discouraged. Then last week, we were sent to minister to nearly 300 people in spite of our own disappointments and concerns for our own family. So we have found ourselves crying out to God like the Apostle Paul in 2 Corinthians 12, verses 8 through 10, which says, Paul was writing and he said, concerning this thing, I pleaded with the Lord 3 times that it might depart from me. He said a messenger of Satan had been allowed to come and to buffet him. And it was a thorn in his flesh. So he said he prayed and asked the Lord 3 times to take it away. But instead, God said, my grace is sufficient for you. For my strength is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, most gladly, I will rather boast in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. Therefore, I take pleasure in infirmities, in reproaches, in needs, in persecutions, in distresses, for Christ's sake. For when I am weak, then I am strong. We have found it necessary to consider taking a temporary leave to provide help and support for my parents, my siblings, and pastor, because family is still the priority. Ministry does not take precedence over family. So we're seeking God daily on how to navigate through the next few weeks and months. What is my point today? In a few minutes, we're going to be talking about regrets and how to deal with the choices we have made in life. And obviously, We are at another one of those crossroad moments where we have to make some decisions that we're hoping we won't regret. And we cannot allow the regrets from our past to dictate the decisions we must make today. Wow. So, the first place we turn to is the Lord. Because even though we don't know what the future holds, we know that He holds the future. Am I right, y'all? So today we draw upon the grace of God. We totally depend upon His strength. Today we admit that we're weak. Today we take pleasure in the needs and in the distresses. Mom had no idea what she was saying as she was opening up in prayer today. You didn't know I was going to be saying all of this. We take pleasure in the needs and the distresses so that the power of Christ may rest upon us. In doing this, God's strength is made perfect. And where the Bible says, when God Himself said, my strength is made perfect, that word perfect means to be matured. His strength is completed in us. His strength, here's another definition, is accomplishing what God desires to bring through my life. Always remember that. When we're in a place of weakness, His strength is accomplishing what He desires to bring through our life. Anybody need to hear that right now? Just receive that for yourself. Say, Lord, I receive your strength. I receive your strength right now.